Imagine waking up every day not just to an alarm clock, but to a divine calling. Most people wake up and instantly check their phones, rush to their routines, and carry yesterday's stress into today. But what if the first 20 minutes of your morning could set your entire soul on fire with clarity, purpose, peace, and power? What if those few sacred moments after waking up could become the fuel that moves not just your body, but your spirit? My friends, the way you begin your morning is not a routine, it's a ritual. It's a conversation with life itself. It's the moment the universe leans close to hear, what will you do with this breath you've been given again? Those first 20 minutes are like a fresh canvas gifted to you by the divine. You can either scribble old worries on it, or you can let your soul paint something beautiful. The choice is yours. But once you learn how to fuel your inner world, from the very first minute of the day, your outer world automatically begins to align. Let's walk through these 7 sacred ways to fuel your soul in the first 20 minutes. Not just to live another day, but to awaken it. Before your feet even touch the floor in the morning, before your thoughts start racing toward duties, deadlines, and demands, pause. Just pause. In that sacred pause, in that stillness before the world floods in, there lies an opening to something extraordinary. That is the moment to start your day, not with noise, but with silent gratitude to God. This is not about a loud ritual. It's not about dramatic gestures. It's about a soft whisper of the heart that says, thank you. A whisper that may seem small, but carries immense spiritual weight. You see, many people wake up and immediately feel overwhelmed. The mind says, I didn't sleep well, or I have so much to do, or why did that person treat me that way yesterday? We unknowingly carry yesterday's burdens into today's freshness. But when you start with gratitude, something powerful shifts. Gratitude is the energy that dissolves complaining. Gratitude is the beginning of joy. Gratitude is the language of the soul that understands that life is not perfect, but life is still a gift. Think of a man who has a simple life, no luxury, no fame, not even full financial stability. But every morning, he places his hands together, closes his eyes, and thanks God just for waking up. He thanks for the breath, the roof over his head, the food on his plate, and the ability to try again. Now think of another person who has everything, comfort, gadgets, influence, but wakes up irritated that the AC didn't cool the room enough, or the coffee isn't hot enough. The difference isn't in the outer world, it's in the inner awareness. Gratitude doesn't come from having everything. It comes from recognizing everything. When we thank God the moment we open our eyes, we are acknowledging the miracle of being chosen to live another day. Because someone somewhere went to sleep last night and didn't wake up. But you did. Your soul has been given one more day to fulfill its purpose, to love deeper, to grow wiser, to serve sincerely, to walk closer to truth. Isn't that alone worth celebrating? And gratitude doesn't require ideal circumstances. Even if you are going through pain, even if there's uncertainty in life, you can still choose to begin your day with a thankful heart. That choice doesn't deny your problems, it simply refuses to let them rule your spirit. Gratitude is not ignoring the storm, it is finding shelter in the fact that God still walks with you through it. And what better time to connect to that presence than in the first moment you wake up? Let's take a real life example. Imagine someone who has been struggling financially for months. Business isn't working. Relationships are tense. The mind is filled with stress. Yet every single morning, he sits in silence and just thanks God for breath, for the chance to try again, for the strength to keep walking. Over time, his energy changes. His face softens. His decisions become clearer. Because when you start your day by remembering what's right, it gives you the strength to face what's wrong. Gratitude doesn't remove difficulty, but it reveals courage. And the beautiful part is, you don't need anything external to practice this. You don't need a perfect environment or a guru sitting beside you. You just need your heart. When you wake up tomorrow morning, just try this: place your hand on your chest, close your eyes for 10 seconds, and silently say, "Thank you, God, for today." You will feel a soft peace rising. That soft peace is the divine responding to your whisper. In those first 20 minutes of the day, when your mind is still uncluttered, when your heart is still quiet, when the energy of the universe is still gentle, that's when gratitude becomes your superpower. It aligns you with God's rhythm. It reminds you that before the world labels you by success, beauty, income, or followers, you are already enough because you are alive. And let me tell you something profound. The soul that starts the day with gratitude will attract more reasons to stay grateful. It's like tuning into a higher frequency where grace flows freely. People will wonder why you're so calm, so steady, so joyful even during chaos. It's because your foundation is not built on what you have, it's built on what you honor. So, if you truly wish to fuel your soul in the first 20 minutes, start not with a to-do list, but with a thank you list. Thank God for your breath, for your ability to feel, to think, to fall, to rise, and above all, to love. Because a soul that begins the day with gratitude walks the rest of the day in grace. The moment we open our eyes, the world begins to knock. Notifications, messages, headlines, to-do lists, all rush like a tidal wave. Most people wake up, and within the first few seconds, their fingers are already reaching for the phone. Scrolling through social media, diving into emails, checking what others are doing, and unconsciously inviting the noise of the world into their heart before they even heard the voice of their own soul. But here's the truth: you cannot connect to peace until you first disconnect from pressure. And that's why, in the first 20 minutes of the day, we must learn to disconnect to reconnect. Disconnect from the outer world to reconnect with the inner world, with our true self, and with the divine. In the silence of the early morning, there is a sacred stillness. The world has not yet started shouting. The air is still. The mind is soft. That is the time when the connection to the source becomes the strongest. And yet, most of us trade that golden silence for a glow from a screen. We allow someone else's opinion, someone else's success, someone else's chores to occupy our inner peace. We begin our day lacking, not reflecting. And as a result, we spend the whole day chasing balance, not realizing we lost it the moment we invited the noise in. There's a very simple practice, yet deeply powerful. Wake up and just sit in silence. Don't check the time. Don't check your notifications. Don't even speak. Just breathe. Just be. Let your soul take its first steps before your feet do. In that silence, you will notice something magical. Thoughts will come, yes. But in between those thoughts, there's a presence, a quiet witness, a still awareness. That presence is not just your mind. That presence is your soul remembering its original connection to something divine, something eternal. Have you ever noticed the most profound wisdom doesn't scream, it whispers. Truth doesn't need to shout. Inner guidance doesn't fight for your attention. That's why if your morning is too noisy, you'll miss it. But if you learn to disconnect, even for a few moments, you start hearing the guidance that was always there, softly waiting for you to pause long enough to listen. Think of it this way. Imagine your mind is a muddy lake. When you stir it, everything is cloudy. But when you stop moving it, when you let it settle, the water becomes clear. And only then you can see what's really at the bottom. Our mind is the same. The noise from outside keeps it agitated. But if you disconnect, if you just sit in stillness, the mud settles. You begin to see clarity, you begin to see truth. You begin to see God not as a distant concept, but as a calm presence living right inside your breath. A man once shared a beautiful habit with me. Every morning, he kept his phone in a drawer and didn't touch it for the first 30 minutes. Instead, he sat in his balcony, looked at the sky, listened to the birds, and simply watched his breath. He told me, "When I do this, I feel like I'm not entering the day alone. I feel like I'm walking into it hand in hand with something divine." That's the power of disconnection. It doesn't make you isolated, it makes you deeply connected in the right way. Let me ask you, when was the last time you heard your own thoughts before hearing everyone else's? When was the last time your soul got to speak before the world did? When you disconnect from the outside for a little while each morning, you allow your heart to prepare for what's coming. You're no longer reactive, you become intentional. You stop allowing life to happen to you and start allowing life to happen through you. And this isn't about becoming a monk. You don't need to live in the mountains. You can live in the busiest city, surrounded by responsibilities, and still find that silent temple within yourself every morning. It may be just 10 minutes. It may be on your bed. It may be in the corner of your room. But in those 10 minutes, if you choose to be fully present, you've already won half the battle of the day. Because peace is not found in a place, it is found in presence. And presence is born in stillness. So tomorrow, when you wake up, gift yourself those first 20 minutes. Don't dive into the digital ocean. Don't allow the outside world to shape your inside world. Just disconnect. Be silent. Be still. Breathe. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the miracle of life moving through you. Let your spirit stretch its arms before your body does. In that space, you are not just preparing for a day. You are realigning with your true nature, peaceful, powerful, and deeply connected to the divine. And that, my friend, is how you begin not by consuming the world, but by creating your own vibration of calm, clarity, and connection. When the soul leads, the rest of life follows. And the first 20 minutes are your sacred chance to remind yourself of who's really in charge. Your inner self, guided by the presence of God. Prayer is not about perfect words or rituals. It is not about how beautifully you speak, how many verses you recite, or how long you sit cross-legged in front of a candle. Prayer, in its truest form, is honesty. It is the language of the soul reaching out to the source. When you wake up in the morning and take a moment to speak to the divine in your own words, you are doing something far more powerful than any ritual. You are forming a connection that is real, raw, and deeply personal. You don't need a specific time. You don't need to be dressed in a certain way. You don't even need a quiet room. All you need is sincerity. The divine is not listening to your grammar. He is listening to your heart. And in those early moments of the day, before the world places its weight on your shoulders, your heart is the most open. This is why speaking to the divine during that time becomes incredibly sacred. It becomes your soul's first meal for the day. There's a story of a woman who was going through some of the darkest days of her life. Financial troubles, relationship issues, declining health. Everything seemed to be crumbling. But every morning, she would wake up, look outside her window at the rising sun, and say just one sentence with tears in her eyes: "Please walk with me today. I cannot do this alone." That was it. No grand declarations, no loud chanting, just a whisper. But do you know what whisper did? It reminded her that she was not walking into life alone. It reminded her that even in chaos, she had a silent companion beside her. That is the beauty of prayer. It doesn't have to be spoken aloud. It can be said in your thoughts, it can be felt in your emotions. What matters is that it comes from the most truthful part of you. silently, who listens without interruption, and who walks with you even when the path is dark. And it's not just about asking for things. Prayer is also a time to just be, to sit with the divine like a friend. You can tell him about your dreams, your disappointments, your hopes, your heartbreaks. You can even laugh. There's no format, just flow. Because that's how real relationships are. And the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with the source who gave you breath. Some mornings you may not feel like praying. That's okay too. Just sit, just show up. That itself is enough. When your mind doesn't have the words, let your heart do the talking. Sometimes just sitting in quiet presence is more powerful than any words you could say. It shows you're willing to connect, and that willingness is what builds a spiritual bond stronger than steel. So, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before the world gets loud, speak to God. Not with borrowed words, not with someone else's script, but with your own raw truth. Let your first conversation of the day be not with the world, but with the one who made the world. That 5 minute exchange could shape the next 24 hours. Because when your day begins with the divine, your soul remembers its strength and your heart walks lighter, not because life is easy, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. There is a kind of silence that does not come from peace. It comes from pain. It's the silence we choose when we let someone disrespect us and we say nothing. We brush it off. We tell ourselves, it's okay, maybe I'm overacting. Or, let me not create a scene. Or even worse, maybe I deserved it. And so, disrespect finds a home. Not because we welcome it, but because we allow it. One of the most silent killers of self-worth is the habit of tolerating disrespect. Quietly, repeatedly, and often unknowingly, the damage is not loud. It doesn't leave bruises that others can see, but it leaves deep wounds in the heart and the soul. When you allow others to speak to you in a way that dishonors your spirit, when you let people treat you as less, ignore your feelings, or cross your boundaries, and you say nothing, a part of you starts to believe that you deserve it, that this is all you're worth, and that lie becomes your truth. The tragedy is not what they said. The real tragedy is what you started saying to yourself after it happened. Let's take a very relatable example. A young man works hard at his job. He's punctual, responsible, and kind. But his boss constantly belittles him in front of others. He cracks jokes that cut deep, throws sarcastic remarks, and mocks his ideas in meetings. And every time, the man smiles nervously. He laughs along to hide the hurt. He tells himself, at least I have a job, or maybe this is normal. Everyone goes through this. But inside, his confidence is crumbling. Every joke steals a little more of his dignity, and the silence. That's what allows it to continue. Or think about relationships, friendships, families, marriages. How many times have you heard someone say, that's just how he is? Or, she didn't mean it that way. After being insulted or dismissed, we make excuses for others' disrespect. But what we don't realize is that every excuse we make for their behavior becomes a silent permission slip for them to continue. And what we allow, we eventually become. The person who keeps tolerating disrespect over time becomes the person who no longer sees anything wrong with it. They adapt to it. They adjust their self-worth to fit someone else's lack of respect. But here's the deeper spiritual truth. You are not created to be treated as ordinary. You are created by God with love, with light, with intention. You are not here to beg for kindness or settle for scraps of respect. You are here to walk with dignity, speak with integrity, and live in a way that reflects your connection with the divine. And allowing disrespect is not humility. It's forgetfulness. Forgetfulness of your sacred value. It is not love to let someone hurt you repeatedly. It is not loyalty to keep silent when your soul is aching. Real love, for yourself and for others, begins with boundaries. with the being chosen. It begins with knowing where you and where someone else's behavior becomes unacceptable. God does not teach us to hate those who disrespect us. No, He teaches us to love ourselves enough not to let that disrespect become our identity. Just as you would not allow someone to walk with muddy shoes into a clean temple, you should not allow someone to bring their toxic behavior into your inner temple. Your mind, your heart, your soul. Respect is not something you earn by pleasing others. It is something you claim by recognizing who you truly are. Now, that doesn't mean you fight every person who wrongs you. No, this isn't about aggression. It's about awareness. It's about having the strength to say, "This is not okay with me," with calmness. It's about stepping away when someone repeatedly ignores your worth. It's about drawing the line, not to punish them, but to protect yourself. Because your peace is precious. Your energy is divine. And if someone constantly disrespects you, it's not your job to fix them. It's your responsibility to protect the sacredness of your spirit. Let me share a story. A woman once shared how she would always be the nice one in her friend group, the one who tolerated the jokes, the one adjusted her plans for everyone else, the one who was never appreciated but always expected to be available. One day, she decided to pause. She asked herself, "If I treated myself the way they treat me, how would I feel?" The answer broke her. That day, she made a silent promise to never again abandon herself in the name of acceptance. She didn't cut people off with anger. She just began to choose herself. She stopped overgiving. She stopped laughing at insults. She stopped shrinking. And slowly, she started to feel her self-worth rising. Not because the world changed, but because she did. You are not weak for wanting to be treated with respect. You are not too sensitive for feeling pain when someone crosses a line. Your feelings are not a burden. They are a divine signal from within. And the more you listen to them, the more you align with your truth. So if someone's words or actions make you feel small, unworthy, or invisible, pause. Don't dismiss it. Don't absorb it. Don't stay silent. Stand gently in your truth. Because every time you protect your dignity, you honor the divine within you. You remind your soul that it matters, and that is how self-worth is rebuilt. Not in one dramatic moment, but in these small, silent decisions where you choose not to let anyone dim your sacred light.